Hi, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Elevate with Erica. So, this is where we talk about real growth and real change and real life, all the messy parts. I'm going with you guys on this ride kind of show, not a listen to me from a mountaintop. And today we're going to dive into a topic that I have personally been sitting with for a little while now. So, this it's not polished, it's not perfect, but it's real. And I believe that what we need more of in this world right now is not the highlight reels, right? But the truth. And so if you feel like you have been dimming your light to make others more comfortable, if you've ever held back from sharing your joy or your progress or your wins, sometimes I feel like we connect really easy over pain points in our lives, right? Like it's easy to get together and complain about our husbands or our kids or our jobs, right? But sometimes we hide the wins and the joy that we're feeling because we feel like no one's going to want to connect with us then. No one's going to know where we're coming from. And also if you've ever questioned whether it's okay to be proud of how far you've come, then this episode is for you. So, this is the first time I've said this publicly. And I know just even me saying that feels like I'm about to tell you something bad, doesn't it? But I'm about to tell you something good. And it's the first time I've said it publicly. I booked a cruise, and not just any cruise. I booked a 7-day vacation on the largest cruise ship in the world. It's a dream trip of mine. It's for my 40th birthday coming in July. And I think the part maybe I'm most excited for out of any vacation that I've ever taken is that I'm taking it with my family, with my boys. I have two boys, age 14 and 11, and I haven't posted about this cruise. I really live my life throughout my stories on social media. Um, and I haven't even shared the excitement, the gratitude, the full circle moment this feels like for me because I was afraid of how I would be received. I booked this cruise maybe about 3 weeks ago and knew I was going to do it even prior to that. But I was afraid that it would look like I was bragging, like I was flaunting, like I was just out here pushing products for a paycheck. Because let me back up a little bit here. I aligned with a new company a few months ago called Make Wellness. And prior to that, while I'm still aligned with Body, I was more heavily aligned with Body. And then I was introduced to the peptide world by a friend, Kim, back in October, and life has just moved so incredibly fast since then. And I've always been the kind of person I've been affiliated with several different brands throughout social media since 2000 and probably really started picking up more 2020 and forward. And I've always been very selective about who I affiliate with. I've had companies send me their products and ask me to share about them. And if I try them and I don't like them, I'm not telling a soul to go buy it. I don't care what my commission rate is. I have turned down countless companies for that reason. I've had companies, want to affiliate with me, and then I'll go and look at like their ingredient labels online. And I've told them no. I don't care how much they're going to compensate me for just trying it, right? And so when I aligned with Make Wellness, I did my research. I geeked out on the science behind what a peptide even was. I had no idea. I had no idea what it meant to be nature derived and how that compared to the GLP-1s I knew I had family and friends on. And so when I said yes to just trying the company and trying their products, back in October, I was just saying yes because as a consumer, man, the product sounded awesome. The benefits sounded awesome. I was down with the science behind it, the 10 years of research and the ingredient labels. I looked at all of that before I said yes. And as a consumer, I meant it. It was a wholehearted yes. I'm going to try all of these things. Um, and never imagined that it was going to turn my life around like this. not just for me, but for my family. Never. And so when I've seen this unexpected success, I haven't known what to do with it. And I'm so nervous for people to think that I'm out here, again, just pushing products for a paycheck, right? But let me tell you something. I have never worked harder or aligned more deeply with something than I have over the past few months with Make Wellness. Because it came at such a awesome time in my life when I was getting ready to turn 40 and I was starting to feel these funky things happening within my body. And like I've said before, I wasn't sure if that was because of the stress I had been going through rebuilding my marriage, of the stress I had gone through with some things with my kids last year, of the stress I was going through financially because of those things, and also just the body restructuring their compensation plan. Like I had a lot of things happening end of 2023 and throughout 2024. And I wasn't sure if that was my body's way of responding to that stress or if it was also because I was inching to 40. And these products, I mean, they couldn't have fell at a better time in my life for me to have a need for the benefits that they were promising. And I just feel like this was, a bigger calling for my life than I could have ever imagined. And this business, this mission, it's changed my family's life and it's changing lives around me, which is my favorite part. And it's not just about the peptides, it's about purpose. And it's for me about helping people feel strong and energized and vibrant. And yes, it's about creating financial freedom too. But somewhere along the way, I picked up this belief that if I'm doing something different, especially if it's network marketing, then I have to hide my wins and play small and be quiet, or worse, like I have to explain myself. And so that's how I haven't known how to go in my social media stories and say, I booked a cruise for my family for 7 days for my 40th birthday because of this business, because of the way it's impacted my life. But here's the thing. You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. That's a quote from Winston Churchill that I love. You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. Isn't that good? Let that sit because people are going to talk and they're going to misunderstand and they're going to judge you. But their opinion, it's not your purpose. And you know what? This isn't actually the first time that shame has tried to sit in the driver's seat of my life. When my husband and I decided to fight for our marriage, to go to counseling, to dig deep, to rebuild, to own our own parts and why it fell apart, I felt it then too. And that same knot in my stomach, that same fear that people would judge my decision to stay was there. But the truth is, people often judge what they don't understand, right? And if we live our lives needing everyone's permission to pursue what makes sense for us, then we're going to be waiting forever. We can't outsource our peace to public opinion. I want to say that one more time. You can't outsource your peace to public opinion, whether that's your marriage, whether that's your career, your business, your joy. Don't shrink so that others can feel comfortable. If they were meant to shine, then they wouldn't be intimidated by your light, right? Let that liberate you. If they were meant to shine, they wouldn't be intimidated by your light. So don't shrink yourselves for them. So here's what I had to remind myself. If I were selling real estate and I just had my best year ever, I would be on social media. I actually have a lot of realtor friends, and every time they sell this great house, they're making a post, and it's so cool. I love loving on it. I love celebrating others. I would heart on that and comment and all of the things, right? So if I were selling real estate and just had my best year ever or best sale ever, no one would bat an eye if I posted about it. If I were a top performing car dealer or just opened a successful brick and mortar business, no one would call me salesy for celebrating, would they? So why do I do this to myself? Just because my career choice is network marketing? Because I like the time freedom that allows for my life. It just works for me. That's success for me. To be able to, join my son at his field day without asking permission off, to be able to join a bowling league with my mom on Tuesday mornings and go have lunch after. That's success to me. It's the judgment of the misunderstood that I'm letting hold me back. And when we give it power, we rob others of inspiration, right? Because here's the reality. When I hold back from sharing what this business has done for me, I might be keeping someone from changing their life too. So, what if the story that you're ashamed to tell is the story that someone else needs to hear to believe in what's possible for them? And I hope that you can take what I'm sharing today and make it relatable to you. So today I'm rewriting the story. I still haven't shared it publicly yet, by the way, and I'm going to. Now that I am recording this episode, I feel like it's going to force me to because everyone's going to hear this episode in just a few days when it goes live, and I got to get my stuff together because this is a huge part of this story. It's a huge part of my story. This business has changed my family's life like a dream. And so I'm rewriting the story. I don't need everyone to understand why I said yes to this company. I don't need approval to feel proud of how hard I've worked. And I certainly don't need to apologize for the blessings that came from being brave, right? Now, this could apply to your life in so many different ways. Maybe for you, it's, some kind of job change too. Maybe it's leaving a job that you don't like. Maybe it's leaving, a marriage that is unhealthy. Maybe it's seeking help in your marriage. Maybe it's, deciding to work through things with your partner as well, seek counseling. I said yes to something that aligned with my passion and purpose. And it's paying off in more ways than I could have ever imagined in my life. And it's happening so fast that I don't think I've even had a time to really adjust to how vastly different my life is from last October to today at the end of April. And I hope that this episode today is your reminder that you don't need others' permission to be proud of your path either. And if you live for people's acceptance, then you'll die from their rejection. This one, that quote, goosebumps. That one hits because it's true, right? If you live for people's acceptance, you'll die from their rejection. So here's what I want you to take from today. You don't need to wait until people understand you to be successful. You don't need to shrink to make them comfortable. You don't need to stay quiet just because your story makes someone else uncomfortable. You were called to this path. Your obedience to what lights your heart on fire will bless people more than your silence ever could. And your wins are not just about you. Your wins are not just about you. They're seeds that plant belief in someone else. And your voice, your real voice, could be the one that helps someone else say yes to changing their life. So I'm making this commitment here with you guys today too. I'm going to keep sharing imperfectly and honestly and boldly, and I hope that you will too, the ups and the downs, the wins and the losses. I know I've come to this podcast with a lot of losses because, again, it's so easy to connect over those kinds of things. But I want us to make room to share our wins too, because that can be just as inspiring to someone else as sharing a loss. Because this life is too short to be playing small. and way too beautiful to dim your light just because someone else hasn't found theirs yet. Let's go help someone find theirs. Let's go shine. So if today's episode stirred something in you, I want you to share it. I want you to tag me. I want you to DM me, send it to someone who needs this nudge. And if you've been holding back from sharing your own story, maybe this is your sign that it's time to rise, to speak, and to step into the fullness of who you're becoming. I love you guys. Let's keep growing. Until next episode, friends.